"My son?" Robin shouted. "Get out of my house, Dad," his eyes burning with anger like I've never seen before. "We're done talking." I stood there holding the keys to the house I helped him buy and just nodded. Okay. A week later, my phone lit up with 47 missed calls from my son. I smiled, knowing that what I had planned had already begun to destroy them. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and let us know where you're listening in the comments. "Get out of my house!" Robin's voice cracked like a whip, his eyes blazing with an anger I'd never seen. "We're done talking." The dining room fell silent, the clink of wine glasses swallowed by the weight of his words. My hand froze, the glass trembling, a faint ripple in the Chardonnay. I stared at my son, my only son, and felt my chest tighten as if the air had been sucked out of the room. The modern chandelier above casts sharp shadows across the polished table. Jessica sat back, arms crossed, her manicured nails tapping a slow, deliberate rhythm. "You've overstepped, Peter," she said, her voice smooth as ice, not a hair out of place in her sleek blonde updo. She didn't look at me, just tilted her head toward Robin like a queen signaling her knight. My gaze flicked to the staircase where Tommy and Emily peeked from the shadows. Emily clutched her teddy bear, her small face pale, while Tommy's wide eyes locked onto mine, pleading for something I couldn't name. "Robin," I said, softly, setting the glass down, my voice steady despite the storm inside. "Let's talk. Whatever this is we can know," he cut me off, pacing the hardwood floor, his polished loafers clicking. "You're always in the way, Dad, always meddling." His hands gestured wildly, knocking over a fork. It clattered against the plate, a sharp note in the tension. I searched his face for the boy who'd once begged me to read him one more story. But all I saw was a stranger, his jaw tight, his eyes avoiding mine. Jessica leaned forward, her diamond earrings glinting. "We need space, Peter, permanently." The word landed like a blade, clean and final. I wanted to argue, to demand what I'd done, but the sight of my grandchildren stopped me. Tommy's lip trembled. Emily hugged her bear tighter. "I couldn't make this worse for them." "If that's what you want," I said, my throat dry. I stood, my knees creaking, and reached for my coat draped over the chair. The fabric felt heavy like my heart. My fingers brushed the key in my pocket, the one to this house, the one I'd helped them buy. I gripped it, the metal cool against my palm, a silent vow I didn't yet understand. Robin pointed to the door, his chest heaving. "Just go!" His voice broke just for a second, and I wondered if he felt it too, the fracture between us. Jessica's lips curved. Not quite a smile, but enough to tell me who held the res. I walked to the door, my worn shoes scuffing the pristine floor. The house was all glass and steel, a sterile showcase of their success, so unlike the cozy chaos of my own place. A family photo hung on the wall. Me, Robin, Margaret, all smiling years ago. I paused, my reflection faint in the glass frame. When had that warmth vanished? The front door loomed, heavy oak with a sleek handle. I opened it, the evening air cool against my face. Behind me, I heard Emily whisper, "Grandpa." I didn't turn back. I couldn't bear her eyes. The door clicked shut, and the silence outside was deafening, broken only by the distant hum of Ben's quiet streets. I shuffled to my car, parked under a street lamp's pale glow. The dusk painted the house's glass walls in shades of orange, making it look alive, mocking me. I slid into the driver's seat, the leather creaking under my weight. My hands shook as I pulled the key from my pocket, its jagged edge catching the light. This key had meant something once, my gift to them, my promise of family. I kept it after signing over the loan, a reminder of the home I'd secured for them. Now a symbol of their betrayal. Now it felt like a weight, a question. I glanced at the dashboard where a faded photo sat. Me, Robin and Margaret at Tommy's first birthday. All laughing. My throat burned. What had turned my son against me? Jessica's cold stare flashed in my mind, her voice like a puppet string pulling Robin. I started the engine, the rumble steadying me, but my eyes lingered on the house, its lights glowing like eyes watching me go. The road stretched dark and quiet. Ben's pine-lined street slipping past as I drove. My knuckles whitened on the steering wheel, the silence in the car heavier than the fight I just left. A street light flickered, its glow stuttering like my hope. I couldn't shake Robin's voice, the venom in Get Out. Where had my son gone? The boy who'd clung to me after Margaret's funeral, promising we'd always be family. My eyes caught the dashboard where a faded photo rested. Me, Robin, Margaret, all grinning at a picnic years back. The memory hit like a wave, pulling me to 2020 when everything felt possible. Robin had lost his job, his voice trembling over the phone. Dad, we're going to lose the house. I'd driven to the bank that day, the air thick with coffee and paper. The pen felt heavy as I signed the check, draining my savings. The money Margaret and I had saved for our retirement. But it was for Robin, for Tommy, for the family we'd built. We'd sat in their half-furnished living room, boxes still unpacked. Robin clutched a mug, the steam curling up as he looked at me, eyes wet. Dad, you saved us, he said, his voice thick. You'll always be welcome here, always. I'd smiled, the warmth of his words wrapping around me like a blanket. Jessica hadn't been there. She'd been at some blogger event, already building her empire. I hadn't minded then. Robin was enough. Now, driving through Ben's quiet night, the memory stung. The house key sat in my pocket, its weight a reminder of that promise now broken. When had Robin changed? I thought of Jessica, her coldness creeping in after their wedding. The way she'd started calling my visits intrusions. Had she turned him against me? The thought nodded, sharp and relentless. The Dashes River came into view, its surface glinting under the moonlight. I pulled over, the gravel crunching under my tires. The car's interior was a cocoon of worn leather and faint coffee stains. The photo on the dashboard, my only company. I touched the key, its edges pressing into my palm. I'd given them everything. My savings, my heart. And tonight Robin had thrown it back in my face. I stepped out, the pine-scented air cool against my skin. The river murmured, its steady flow calming the chaos in my chest. I leaned against the car, staring at the water, my reflection faint and fractured. Margaret would have known what to say. She'd always seen through people, her journalist's eyes sharp as mine. But she was gone, and I was alone grappling with a son I didn't recognize. My mind replayed Robin's gratitude. His "You saved us, Dad." Where had that boy gone? I whispered to the night. What did I miss? The river didn't answer, but something shifted inside me. I wasn't the frail old man they thought I was. I'd spent years uncovering truths, exposing lies. Jessica's smug face flashed in my mind, her manicured nails tapping out her control. Robin's pacing, his avoidance. They weren't his choices. They were hers. I straightened, my jaw tight. The key in my pocket felt less like a burden now, more like a weapon. They'd pushed me out, but they didn't know me, not the real me. The journalist who'd toppled corrupt officials, who'd chased truth through sleepless nights. I slid back into the car, the engine's rumble steadying my pulse. My eyes fell on the photo again. Margaret's smile urging me on. They don't know who I am, I whispered, the words firm, a vow. The river's murmur faded as I pulled onto the road, my mind already turning, planning. They thought they'd won. They were wrong. I pushed open the door to my apartment, the hinges creaking in the quiet. The fight with Robin echoed in my skull, his get out, a loop I couldn't mute. I slumped into my armchair, the worn fabric sign under me. The room was a cozy mess. Stacks of old newspapers, a chipped mug on the table, Margaret's framed photo catching the lamplight. A letter from Liz, my daughter in Portland, sat unopened on the table. She'd been urging me to visit, but I hadn't had the heart to reply. Her smile steadied me like it always had. I needed her now. Her fire, her way of seeing through the noise. My eyes drifted to a framed article on the wall. Yellowed but proud. Local journalist exposes City Hall scandal. That was me 30 years ago. Relentless chasing truth until it broke. I've forgotten that man. Buried him under grief and grandkids' soccer games. But tonight, Robin and Jessica had woken him up. They thought I was just an old widower hour meddling. Weak they'd learn otherwise. I pulled a worn leather notebook from the shelf, its edges soft from years of use. The pen scratched as I opened it. the sound sharp in the silence. I wrote Robin follows Jessica blindly, weak-willed. My hand paused, then moved again. Jessica, obsessed with image, hates scrutiny. The words felt alive like pieces of a puzzle I'd solve. I set the house key beside the notebook, its metal glinting under the lamp. This wasn't just a key anymore. It was what they'd taken, what I'd take back. I leaned back, the chair creaking, and spoke to Margaret's photo.
"You'd tell me to fight, wouldn't you?"
Her eyes seemed to nod, her smile a quiet push.
"After she died, I'd poured everything into Robin and Liz, thinking family was my legacy. Robin had been my anchor, his gratitude for the house.
I'd bought them a lifeline. Now he'd cut me loose, and Jessica was the blade. I stood, my knees protesting, and crossed to a shelf cluttered with old files. My fingers brushed a frame photo. Me, Robin, Tommy, all laughing at a park. The memory ached, but it fueled me. I wasn't doing this for me. It was for Tommy and Emily, for the grandpa they deserved. I rummaged through the shelf, pulling out clippings. My old bylines. Each one reminded me who I was.
"Peter Bell, the man who didn't back down,"
I murmured.
"They think I'm weak."
"They're wrong." My voice was low, steady, the words a promise.
I scribbled more in the notebook.
Jessica's blog, her polished facade, Robin's job, his insecurities, weaknesses, both of them. I'd spent decades finding cracks in people's lives. This was no different. The apartment's dim light cast shadows over the clutter, the air thick with the scent of old paper. I paced, my steps soft on the worn rug, my mind racing. I didn't know the plan yet, but I felt it forming, sharp and certain. They'd hurt me, but I'd hurt them back. Not with shouts or fists, but with truth. The kind that stings worse. I stopped at a drawer, tugging it open.
Inside was my old contact book.
Its cover faded, pages doe-geared. My heart quickened as I flipped it open. My fingers tracing names, colleagues, sources, friends from my reporting days. One name stood out. Clara, a fellow journalist, sharp as a tack, still in Portland.
She'd know where to start.
I smiled faintly. The first real smile since Robin's outburst.
"Let's see how they like the truth," I said, my voice quiet but firm.
The notebook lay open, the key beside it, Margaret's photo watching. The fight was just beginning, and I was ready. The lamp on my desk flickered, casting jagged shadows across the clutter. Old articles, a chipped mug, the housekeep glinting like a silent promise. I hunched over my laptop, Jessica's blog glaring back at me, each post a polished lie. Her latest photo, all smiles and designer aprons, captioned, "Living my truth," made my jaw tighten.
Truth? She wouldn't know it if it bit her. My fingers hovered over the keyboard.
The faint hum of my apartment the only sound. I was a journalist again, hunting, and Jessica was my target. I scrolled through her feed, her curated life laid bare. Cooking tutorials, brand deals, a lifestyle empire built on charm and ambition. But charm cracks under pressure.
I needed her weaknesses, the ones she hid behind her perfect makeup.
My notebook lay open, its worn leather warm under my hand. I jotted, "Jessica needs adoration, hates criticism." Robin's name followed. Follows her lead, insecure. The pen's scratch fueled my focus, each word a step toward justice. The family photo on my desk. Me, Robin, Margaret.
Laughing years ago caught my eye. Tommy and Emily deserve better than Jessica's cold control.
Robin's spinelessness. I pushed my glasses up, my resolve hardening.
Margaret's voice echoed in my mind.
Dig deeper, Peter, I would. For my grandkids, for me. I grabbed my phone and dialed Ellen, my old colleague from the Portland days. The line crackled. Then her voice, warm but brisk, came through.
"Peter Bell, you old fox."
"What's this about?" "Need a favor?"
I said, keeping it light.
"Jessica Bell runs a food blog. Any dirt?" Ellen chuckled, the sound like gravel.
"Your daughter-in-law, huh?"
"Word is she's got a hefty business loan. 6 figures tied to her brand. Over-leveraged. One wrong move and it's trouble." My pulse quickened. I scribbled loan in the notebook, circling it.
"Thanks, Ellen. 01. Always do," she teased, then hung up. I leaned back, the chair creaking, my mind racing. A loan meant pressure.
Pressure meant cracks. Jessica's pride wouldn't survive a public fall. 2 days later, my anger had hardened into focus, and I needed a change of scene to plan my next move.
I needed more.
I shrugged on my jacket, the house key heavy in my pocket, and headed to the Brood Awakening, a coffee shop downtown. The bell jingled as I stepped inside, the air thick with roasted beans and murmured chatter. I settled at a corner table, laptop open, the wooden surface scratched from years of use. A barista called out orders, her voice a cheerful hum against the clink of mugs. I sipped black coffee, its bitterness grounding me, and dove back into Jessica's blog. The comment section was a goldmine. Beneath her glossy posts, a few users jabbed. "Overpriced junk," one wrote. "All hype, no substance," said another. Jessica's replies were sharp, defensive. "I work hard for my brand."
"Haters stay out," I smirked, scribbling defensive under scrutiny.
"She lived for applause, wilted without it."
"Perfect." I glanced at the family photo tucked in my wallet.
Tommy's grin bright. This was for him, for Emily, for the grandpa they loved. My pen moved again, a new note. Expose her need for control. Start small. The coffee shop's warmth faded as my focus sharpened. The plan forming like a storm on the horizon. I wrote one last line in the notebook, cryptic but clear. Test her pride. My lips curled, a faint smile I hadn't felt in days. The barista's laugh, the chatter, all blurred. I closed the laptop, the click final. Jessica thought she'd won, pushing me out. But I was just starting. "Let's test her pride," I whispered, the words soft but heavy, my eyes on the notebook. It was time to move. The next morning, I headed to the public library, seeking a quiet space to send an anonymous tip without a trace. The library was a fortress of quiet, its air thick with the scent of old books and the soft rustle of pages.
I sat at a public computer.
The screens glow harsh against the dim room. My fingers hovered over the keyboard, steady but electric with purpose. The house key weighed down my pocket, a reminder of what I'd lost and what I'd take back. I opened an anonymous email account, my heart thudding, and began typing a tip to the Ben Bulletin. Jessica Bell's blog inflates prices, misleads sponsors. Check her marketing claims. Short, sharp, true enough to sting. I hit send, the click echoing in my chest. Back in my apartment, I waited, the silence broken only by the clock's steady tick. Margaret's photo watched from the table, her smile urging me on. The notebook lay open, my cryptic note from the coffee shop, test her pride, staring back. I refreshed the bulletin's website, my coffee mug warm in my hands. Then it appeared, local influencer faces questions over business practices. The article was measured but damning, quoting anonymous sources inciting Jessica's inflated product prices. I leaned back, a smirk tugging at my lips. Hashtags like Jessica scam trended on social media, comments piling up, fraud, overrated, perfect. Jessica's blog was next. I clicked her latest post, a frantic defense.
"These lies won't stop me.
My brand is built on trust." Typos littered her words, her polish cracking. I chuckled, reading aloud.
"Trust her?"
My voice dripped with irony, low and steady. She was unraveling just as I'd hoped. My phone rang, Robin's name flashing. I let it ring twice, then answered, my tone calm as glass. "Hello, this has your name all over it, Dad." His voice shook raw with panic.
"That article, why are you doing this?"
I adjusted my glasses fine in confusion.
"I don't know what you mean, Robin. I'm just an old man staying out of your way."
The lie was smooth, practiced, but his accusation stung. I glanced at the family photo, Robin's childhood smile, a ghost. Guilt flickered, then faded. This wasn't just about him. It was about Tommy, Emily, the family they'd stolen from me. "You're lying," he snapped, but his voice cracked, uncertain.
"Fix this, Dad, please."
"Sounds like Jessica's problem," I said, my words cool, final. He hung up, the silence heavy. I exhaled, my fingers tracing the notebook's edge. The house key sat beside it, glinting under the lamp. I'd drawn first blood, but the fight was far from over. I refreshed Jessica's blog, her comment section a war zone. "Scammer," one user wrote. Another, "Your recipes suck." Jessica's replies grew desperate. "I'm hiring a PR team." You'll see. I nodded, satisfied. Her loan, her pride, both teetered. One push could topple them. The apartment's quiet wrapped around me, the creaky chair my only company. I sipped coffee, its bitterness sharp, and replayed Robin's voice, his plea. Part of me wanted to call back to tell him I'd stop, but then I saw Emily's face, her teddy bear clutched tight that night at their house.
No, I'd keep going.
I opened the notebook, reviewing my notes. Jessica needs control.
Robin, her shadow.
My pen paused, then moved. A new line forming.
Push harder.
Public stage. My pulse quickened. The plan sharpening. I refreshed Jessica's blog again. Her latest post a rambling defense, her panic raw. My lips curled, a thrill I hadn't felt in years. She's cracking, I murmured, my voice a low hum, my eyes locked on the screen. The notebook lay open, its pages a map to my next move. Waiting, my phone buzzed on the table.
Robin's name flashing again.
The screen a relentless pulse. 47 missed calls, each a plea I ignored. The apartment was still, the clock's tick a steady beat against the silence. I sipped tea, the mug's warmth grounding me, and stared at the notebook, its pages thick with my plans. Jessica's empire was crumbling, and Robin was caught in the rubble. I played a voicemail, Robin's voice raw, breaking.
Dad, please stop this. You're ruining us.
His words trembled, a mix of anger and fear. I deleted it, my face unreadable, but my chest tightened. He sounded like the boy who'd cried when Margaret died, clinging to me. I pushed the thought away, glancing at the family photo. Tommy's grin, Emily's curls. This was for them, but Robin's pain lingered in my chest, a reminder of the boy I'd raised. Had I pushed too far for Tommy and Emily? I'd keep going, but I wished it didn't hurt him so much. Jessica's blog was chaos. I refreshed the page. Her latest post announcing a PR consultant, but the comments mocked her. Too late, scam queen. Your brand's toast.
Her replies were frantic, all caps. I'm fighting back, I nodded.
The screen's glow lighting my faint smile. Her loan, her pride, both were fraying.
One more push. I needed air.
I slipped on my jacket, the house key heavy in my pocket, and headed to Drake Park. The breeze carried the scent of pine, kids' laughter mingling with chirping birds. I sat on a bench, the grass soft underfoot, and watched families play. My phone buzzed again. Robin, another call.
I silenced it, my jaw tight.
He'd made his choice, siding with her. Grandpa, Tommy's voice cut through the noise. He ran toward me, his sneakers pounding the path, his face bright but uncertain. My heart leapt, then sank.
I stood, arms open, and he crashed into me, his hug fierce.
Hey, why don't you come anymore? He asked, his voice small, his eyes searching mine. I knelt, my knees creaking, and brushed his hair back.
Things are tough with your mom and dad, buddy. But I'm fixing it.
My voice was soft, steady, but his question pierced me. He frowned, clutching a soccer ball. Mom's always mad now, yelling at Dad. I swallowed my throat tight. I'll make it better, Tommy. Promise. He nodded, trusting, and my resolve hardened. Jessica's poison was spreading, hurting my grandkids.
I wouldn't let it.
A woman approached. Tommy's babysitter, apologetic.
He saw you and ran off, she said.
I waved it off, ruffling Tommy's hair. See you soon, champ. He grinned, then ran back to his game, his laughter a spark in my chest. Back in my apartment, the quiet returned.
Heavier now.
I checked Jessica's blog again. Her latest post a plea. My family's suffering.
Stop the lies.
The irony burned.
Her family.
She'd torn mine apart.
Comments piled up. Relentless. Karma's real. Quit whining.
Her PR hire wasn't saving her. My phone buzzed.
Another voicemail. I played it.
Robin's voice low, desperate. Dad, I know it's you.
Call me, please.
His plea hung in the air, unanswered. I set the phone down, my fingers tracing the notebook's edge. Tommy's words echoed. Mom's always mad. I'd shield him, Emily, no matter the cost. The family photo watched Margaret's smile, urging me on. I opened the notebook. My notes a roadmap. Jessica, public stage.
Robin breaking.
My pen paused, a new idea forming, sharp and bold. The key in my pocket felt alive, a pulse of purpose.
Robin thought he could stop me.
Jessica thought she was untouchable. They were wrong. "You're not done yet," I whispered, my voice a quiet vow, my fingers steady on the notebook. The next step was close and I was ready. The burner phone felt cold in my hand. Its cheap plastic, a stark contrast to the weight of what I was about to do.
I sat at my cluttered desk, the lamp's dim glow pooling over the notebook, its pages thick with my plans.
My apartment was quiet, the faint scent of coffee lingering, but my pulse thrummed with purpose. Jessica's empire was teetering, and I was ready to give it another push. I dialed the number from Ellen's contact book, Jessica's investor, a sharp woman named Vivian Cross. My voice, low and measured, hid the journalist I'd once been. "You might want to look into Jessica Bell's books," I said, my words clipped, anonymous. "Her brand's not as stable as she claims." A pause, then Vivian's crisp reply.
"Who is this?"
I hung up, the click final, my breath steady. The seed was planted. I tucked the phone into a drawer, my fingers brushing the family photo. Me, Robin, Margaret, all smiles years ago. Tommy and Emily deserved a grandpa who fought for them, not one pushed out by Jessica's ambition. Margaret's voice echoed, "Protect what matters, Peter." I nodded, my jaw tight, and scribbled in the notebook. Vivian Cross, reviewing Jessica. The pen scratch was a rhythm, a countdown.
I needed to see my grandkids to remind myself why this mattered.
I grabbed my jacket, the house key heavy in my pocket, and drove to their school. The curb was alive with kids' chatter, the air sweet with blooming lilacs. I parked across the street, my heart lifting as Tommy and Emily appeared, backpacks bouncing.
I stepped out waving, and they ran to me, their hugs fierce. "Grandpa!" Emily squealed, her ribbon loose in her curls. "You came. Got something for you," I said.
Pulling a book from my bag for Tommy, The Adventures of Tom Sawyer, and a blue ribbon for Emily. Their grins warmed me, but I glanced around, wary of Robin or Jessica's spies. Tommy flipped through the book, eyes wide.
"This looks awesome."
"Read it slow, champ," I said, ruffling his hair.
"It's got secrets." Emily tugged my sleeve.
"Come back soon, Grandpa." "Okay." "Always, sweetheart," I replied, my voice soft, my throat tight. Their love was my anchor, my reason.
I tied Emily's shoelace, my fingers steady despite the ulk in my chest.
My phone pinged. "A text from Robin. What are you doing, Dad?"
"Stay away," my jaw clenched.
He was paranoid, sniffing around, but he had no proof. I ignored it, pocketing the phone, and hugged the kids one last time. "See you soon," I promised, my voice firm. The babysitter approached, nodding, and I slipped back to my car, my mind racing. Back in my apartment, the quiet returned, heavier now. I opened the drawer, checking the burner phone. A new email waited from an encrypted address. "We're reviewing her accounts. Thanks for the tip." My pulse quickened, a thrill I hadn't felt since my reporting days.
Vivian was moving fast.
Jessica's loan, her pride. Both were on the line now. I set the notebook down, its pages a map of my fight. The family photo watched, Margaret's smile urging me on. The key in my pocket felt alive, a pulse of purpose. Robin thought he could scare me off. Jessica thought she was untouchable. They were wrong. "It's starting," I murmured, my voice a low hum, my eyes on the notebook. The next move was close and I was ready. Tommy's voice crackled through the phone, small but clear. "Dad didn't get the big job, Grandpa. He's always quiet now." I sat in my apartment, the words landing like stones, a mix of triumph and pain twisting in my chest. The notebook lay open on the table, its pages charting Jessica's fall. But Robin's loss stung. My son, my boy, was collateral damage, and I'd caused it. The house key sat beside the family photo, glinting under the lamp, a reminder of what I'd started. I leaned back, the chair creaking, and stared at Margaret's smile in the photo. She'd have known what to say, how to balance love and justice. Tommy's call replayed in my mind. Mom yells at Dad a lot. Jessica was cracking her pressure-breaking Robin too. I'd wanted this, hadn't I? To shake their perfect life, to make them feel my exile. But Robin's silence, his missed promotion, it felt too close to betrayal.
I needed to get out.
I grabbed my jacket, the key heavy in my pocket, and headed to the Pine Tavern, a diner downtown. The The bell jingled as I stepped inside, the air thick with coffee steam and sizzling bacon.
I slid into a booth.
The vinyl creaking and ordered black coffee. The menu crinkled in my hands, but my ears caught a conversation nearby. Two women, locals, their voices low but sharp. "That influencer couple's falling apart," one said, stirring her teeth. "Jessica's tearing into Robin, blaming him for her mess." "Rocky marriage," the other replied, shaking her head.
Heard he lost a promotion. Stress, probably.
I sipped my coffee, hiding a smirk behind the mug. My tip to Vivian had worked. Her review was rattling Jessica, and Robin was caught in the fallout. Satisfaction warmed me, but guilt nodded, cold and sharp.
I saw Robin at 10, laughing as we built a birdhouse, his hands sticky with glue.
Had I gone too far? I set the key on the table, its metal cool against my fingers. This was for Tommy, for Emily, for the family they'd stolen from me.
I muttered.
They brought it on themselves. My voice low, barely audible over the diner's chatter. The women's words echoed.
Rocky marriage.
Jessica's control was slipping and Robin was paying the price. My phone buzzed. "Tommy again," I answered, my voice soft.
"Hey, champ. Everything okay?"
"Mom's mad all the time," he said, his voice small. "Dad just sits there."
"I miss you, Grandpa."
My throat tightened, his words a knife. I saw Emily's curls, her teddy bear, and my resolve hardened.
"I miss you too, buddy," I said, steadying my voice. "I'm working on it, okay?"
"Be strong." He mumbled a goodbye, and the line went dead. I gripped the key, its edges biting my palm.
Jessica's poison was hurting my grandkids. I wouldn't stop.
The diner's bustle, clinking plates. A waitress's laugh faded as I opened my phone. A new article popped up from the Ben Bulletin. Local influencers' financial woes deepen. Jessica's name screamed from the headline, "Her brand under fire." My lips curled, a spark of triumph. Vivian's review had hit hard. I stirred my coffee, the spoon clinking, and replayed Robin's childhood, his trust in me. Guilt clawed, but Tommy's voice drowned it out.
I'd shield my grandkids, no matter the cost.
The notebook waited at home, its next page blank, ready for my final push. I glanced at the article again, my fingers hovering over the phone. Jessica was next, her fall imminent. "Your turn's coming," I whispered. My voice a quiet bow, my eyes locked on the screen. The diner's warmth faded and I was already planning. The laptop hummed softly in my apartment, its screen a window to Jessica's collapse. I leaned forward, the chair creaking, and opened a secure browser. My fingers danced across the keys, posting an anonymous exposé on a local forum. Jessica Bell's merchandise, 300% markup, shoddy quality, receipts attached. I'd called an old source, a supplier I'd interviewed years ago for a story, who quietly shared invoices tied to Jessica's merchandise, overpriced and shoddy. I hit send, my breath steady, eyes alight. The house key lay beside the notebook, a silent partner in my fight. I refreshed the forum and the post exploded. Retweets, comments, hashtags like Notch Jessica fraud trending. "Scam alert," one user wrote. "She's done," said another. A news alert pinged. "Investor pulls out of local influencer's brand." Vivian Cross had acted, yanking Jessica's lifeline. I nodded, satisfaction curling in my chest. Her loan, her empire gone. The family photo watched from the table. Margaret's smile steadying me. This was for Tommy, for Emily, for the grandpa they deserved. But Tommy's voice from yesterday haunted me. "Mom broke a plate yesterday. She was crying. Jessica's fall was hurting my grandkids." And that nod, a cold weight, I pushed it down. Justice first.
I needed air.
I slipped on my coat, the key heavy in my pocket, and headed to Powell's Books, a cozy bookstore downtown. The bell chimed as I entered, the air thick with inky pages and soft music. I wandered to a corner, pulling out my phone to check Jessica's blog.
Her latest post was a mess. "I'll rise above this hate. My brand is my heart."
Her typos screamed panic. Her polish shattered.
I smirked, but Tommy's words echoed, dimming my triumph.
A call came. "Tommy." I stepped outside. The bookstore's hush, giving way to the street's hum. "Grandpa," he said, his voice small. "Mom's not okay."
"She's yelling, breaking stuff."
My heart sank, but I kept my voice steady.
"I'm sorry, champ," I said, gripping the phone. I'm fixing things.
Okay, you and Emily hang tight. He mumbled an okay, and I heard his trust, fragile but real.
I hugged the phone to my chest, vowing to shield them.
Jessica's chaos couldn't touch their hearts, not if I could help it. Back inside, I sat by a window, the bookstore's calm, rustling pages, a barista's hum grounding me. I scrolled through the form, the backlash relentless. Refund my order. She's a fraud. Jessica's replies were frantic.
I'm fighting for my family.
The irony burned. Her family.
She'd torn mine apart.
I opened the notebook, its pages a chronicle of my war. I wrote, Jessica exposed next, endgame. My pen paused, Tommy's voice lingering. I saw Emily's curls, her teddy bear, and my resolve hardened. Jessica's fall was justice, but I'd protect my grandkids from the shrapnel. The bookstore's soft light cast shadows over my hands. The key in my coat, a pulse of purpose. I refreshed the news. Another article. Influencers' brand faces collapsed. Jessica's world was crumbling, and I'd built the fault line. Satisfaction warmed me, but caution tempered it. Robin was next, his silence louder than his calls. I opened the notebook again, drafting a new note. Finish it for them, my pen paused, the weight of the endgame settling.
One final blow and this would be over.
One more step, I murmured, my voice a quiet vow, my eyes on the notebook. The bookstore faded, and I was already moving forward. A sharp knock rattled my apartment door, pulling me from the notebook's open pages. My heart thudded heavy with suspicion. I set my pen down, the house key glinting beside it, and crossed the creaky floor. The air smelled of old books and coffee, the family photo on the table watching, Margaret's smile steady, urging caution. I opened the door, and there they stood. Robin, eyes red and sunken, and Jessica, poise forced, a scarf knotted tightly at her throat. Their world had crumbled, and now they'd come crawling. "Dad," Robin started, his voice cracking barely above a whisper.
Can we talk?
His hands fidgeted, his polished loafers scuffed.
A shadow of the man who'd screamed at me weeks ago.
Jessica stepped forward, her smile thin, practiced. "We want to move forward, Peter," she said, her tone smooth but brittle, like glass about to shatter. Her manicured nails twitched, betraying her.
I leaned against the doorframe, my gaze steelily searching for truth in their faces.
I'd toppled their empire, Jessica's brand in ruins, Robin's career stalled, and now they wanted mercy. "Come in," I said, my voice low, measured. I didn't move aside easily, making them brush past me, their steps hesitant. The apartment's dim light cast shadows on their faces. Robin's stubble stark, Jessica's makeup too perfect. I shut the door, the lock clicking like a gavel. They sat on my worn couch.
Robin hunched.
Jessica rigid, her eyes darting to the clutter. Newspapers, my notebook the key.
I'm sorry, Robin blurted, his voice raw.
"She pushed me, Dad, told me you were meddling, ruining us."
I shouldn't have listened.
His eyes, so like Margaret's, pleaded wet with regret.
I wanted to believe him, to see my boy again.
But Jessica's presence chilled me. She leaned forward, her voice syrupy. "We've all made mistakes, Peter. Let's start over for the kids." Her words dripped calculation, her eyes avoiding mine. Tommy and Emily's faces flashed in my mind, their hugs warm, their trust pure. She didn't get to use them.
Words don't fix this, I said, my tone cold, cutting her off.
I stood, arms crossed, my fingers brushing the key in my pocket. It wasn't just a key anymore. It was my fight, my family. Robin flinched, his hands trembling, but Jessica's lips tightened, a flicker of defiance. "We're losing everything," Robin said, voice breaking. "My job, our home."
I failed you, Dad. His confession hit hard, a knife twisting. I saw him at 10 laughing over comic books and my throat tightened.
But I saw Jessica too. Her cold stare that night, she backed him up, banishing me. "You chose her," I said, my voice steady but heavy. "You both did this." Jessica's smile faltered, her hands smoothing her scarf, a nervous tick. I glanced at the family photo, Tommy's grin, Emily's curls. This was for them, not these two. "We'll change," Jessica said, her voice rising almost convincing. "We'll make it right." But her eyes betrayed her. sharp with pride, not remorse. I shook my head, my resolve firm. "I'll think about it," I said, my words final, offering no promises.
I opened the door.
The creak, loud in the silence. Robin stood hesitating, his eyes searching mine. Jessica rose, her poise cracking as she brushed past. They stepped into the hall, and I shut the door. The lock clicking again. Final. I crossed to the table, my notebook open. Its pages a map of my wall. The family photo watched Margaret's smile grounding me. Robin's tears. Jessica's lies. They didn't erase the hurt. Tommy and Emily deserved more. My fingers traced the notebook, my mind turning to them. To the next step.
"This isn't over," I whispered, my voice a quiet vow.
The notebook heavy in my hands. The fight was done, but the choice wasn't. The park by the Dashwhite's river buzzed with life. Kids' laughter mingling with the rustle of leaves and the river's soft glint. I pushed Emily on a swing, her giggles sharp and bright, while Tommy raced toward me, his sneakers kicking up dirt.
"Grandpa, catch me!"
he shouted, his grin wide, unstoppable. My heart soared, the weight of weeks lifting. The housekeep jangled in my jacket, a reminder of my victory. I was back where I belonged. "Hold on tight, sweetheart," I called to Emily, giving the swing a gentle push. Her curls bounced, her laughter a melody. Tommy tugged my sleeve, waving a drawing. A stick figure family, me included, scrolled in crayon. "This is us, Grandpa," he said, eyes bright. I knelt, my knees creaking, and hugged him, the paper crinkling against my chest. This was why I'd fought, why I'd toppled Jessica's empire and shaken Robin's world. My phone buzzed. Liz calling from Portland. I stepped aside, the river's murmur soft as I answered.
"Dad, you did it," she said, her voice warm, proud.
"Robin and Jessica are barely holding on. Their house is on the market. Her blog's dead." I nodded, my smile fading briefly. Triumph tasted sweet, but Robin's red-rimmed eyes from yesterday lingered. A bitter aftertaste. "They made their choices," I said, my voice steady but heavy. Liz sighed. "You're right."
"But you've got the kids now. That's what matters."
She was right. Tommy's laugh, Emily's hug. They were my win, my peace. I rejoined the kids. Tommy kicking the soccer ball.
Emily chasing him. "Grandpa, push me higher," she squealed, climbing back on the swing. I laughed, the sound foreign after weeks of tension.
"You're flying, kiddo," I said, my voice warm, my hands steady on the chains. The park's breeze carried pine and river water, its vibrancy mirroring my renewed energy. I thought of Margaret, her strength my guide. In my mind I saw the family photo, her smile, our unity. I'd fought for this, for Tommy and Emily to have their grandpa, not a ghost exiled by Jessica's ambition. But caution lingered. Robin's plea, Jessica's forced apology. They weren't done. Not entirely. I'd won, but I'd stay vigilant. We picnicked on the grass, the kids chattering about school, their drawings spread out. Tommy pointed at the river, its surface sparkling.
"Can we fish there, Grandpa?"
he asked, his voice hopeful.
"Someday, champ?"
I said, ruffling his hair. Soon, Emily hugged me, her small arms tight.
"You're the best, Grandpa," she said, her voice a soft chirp. I smiled, my throat tight.
"You make me better," I replied, my voice warm, steady. Back in my apartment, the quiet settled, warm and familiar. The family photo sat on my desk, Margaret's eyes proud. I opened the notebook, its pages heavy with my journey. Notes on Jessica's loan, Robin's weakness, my strikes. I tucked Tommy's drawing inside, its crayon lines a new chapter. Emily's ribbon laid beside it, blue and bright. My eyes caught an envelope on the table. Robin's letter unopened since yesterday.
Its weight pulled at me. A final question.
I set it aside, my fingers lingering on the notebook. The key in my pocket felt light now, a symbol of my place reclaimed. But Robin's words, Jessica's promises.
What did they mean?
I glanced at the letter, my mind turning.
"What now, Robin?"
I murmured, my voice soft, the notebook steady in my hands. The answer was close, and I was ready. The envelope sat on my desk, Robin's handwriting scrolled across it, Jessica's type note tucked inside. I unfolded the letter, my fingers tracing the crisp paper. The quiet wrapping around me. The family photo watched. Margaret's smile steady, grounding. The house key rested in my pocket, no longer heavy but a quiet badge of my fight. I'd torn down their world, Jessica's brand,
Robin's confidence.
and now their words lay before me, begging for peace. Robin's letter was raw, ink smudged.
I failed you, Dad. I let her control me. I want my family back.
His words hit hard, stirring memories of his childhood laughter, his trust. Jessica's note was stiff, formal.
Let's move forward, Peter, for everyone's sake.
I met Robin's eyes in my mind, his regret raw.
Maybe in time we could rebuild.
Not fully, but enough for the kids. Her coldness seeped through, her pride unbroken despite her fall. I scoffed, setting her note aside. Robin's plea lingered, but trust was a bridge they'd burned.
I needed air, clarity.
I grabbed my jacket, the key jangling, and headed to Drake Park with Tommy and Emily. The Dashwhite's river murmured, its surface catching the sunset's gold. The kids ran ahead, their laughter sharp against the breeze.
Grandpa, tell us a story.
Tommy called, his soccer ball bouncing. Emily tugged my hand, her curls wild, her eyes bright. Once upon a time I started, my voice warm. There was a grandpa who fought for his kids. They giggled, unaware of the truth in my words. We sat on the grass, their hands warm in mine. The river's ripple, a soft echo of my calm. This was my victory my family reclaimed. Not Robin's house, not Jessica's approval, but these moments I thought of Margaret, her strength, my compass. The family photo flashed in my mind, our old unity a ghost I'd chased. Robin's letter pulled, his regret real. But Jessica's manipulation lingered,
A shadow I couldn't trust. I'd won.
toppling their world with my journalist's cunning. But forgiveness wasn't mine to give, not fully. Tommy and Emily were enough. Grandpa, stay forever. Emily said, her voice a chirp, her arms around my neck. I hugged her, my throat tight.
I'm not going anywhere, sweetheart, I said, my voice firm. A vow. Tommy grinned, kicking his ball.
You're our hero, he said, his words simple, piercing. I smiled, my heart full. Liz had called earlier, her voice steady.
You've got the kids, Dad. That's what counts.
She was right.
Robin and Jessica could rebuild, but I'd keep my distance. My focus on the children.
Their letter was a gesture, not a bridge. The park sunset blazed, the sky a canvas of orange and pink, the river reflecting its fire. I stood holding the kids' hands, their chatter a melody. The notebook waited at home, its pages closed, my war done. The key in my pocket was just metal now, a reminder of what I'd reclaimed. Not their house, but my place. I looked at the river, its flow steady like my resolve. Robin's letter, Jessica's note. They didn't change the truth.
I'd fought for justice for Tommy and Emily and won.
The sunset warmed my face. The kids laughed to my piece. Margaret's smile in my mind nodded approval. I've done what I needed, I thought, my voice silent, my heart calm. The river flowed. The kids ran ahead and I followed complete. If you like this story, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your impressions of this story in the comments. To listen to the next story, click on the box on the left. Thank you for watching.